Oh, hey! So, yeah, this is a little update slash supplementary video on how things are going with this Xencelabs tablet. I did a video on this 10 months ago, I think, and it's had 10 months more wear on it. And I think I said in that video, I use stuff pretty hard. Here's evidence that I do. And yeah, in terms of like long-term durability of this thing, I've got a few comments. So I can't remember how long I've actually had this for. I've had it pretty much since it came out. So whenever that was, that's when I did it. And I've used it a lot more in the last 10 months. And we can see, obviously, there's quite a lot of wear now on the surface. And this isn't all down to the tablet. There's some user error here, which I'll go into in a sec. But long-term durability, it's not incredible. So we can see some sort of, obviously, use, so scratches and stuff like this on the surface. This is like generally what happens to tablets. They don't last forever, despite what people might have you believe. Especially if you use a plastic nibs, they do eventually wear through. How much this becomes a problem is variable, but generally they last a few years before they kind of need replacing, I find, if you use them day in, day out. So, and again, I use things quite hard. So some of this damage is a little bit higher than it should be. I waited a little bit too long to change nibs. But the main bit, obviously, is this guy in the middle. And I don't know if it's super clear on camera, but that's worn straight through the surface. So that is just bare plastic, I think, underneath, or definitely a layer below the intended drawing surface, as in that is your base level. I don't think you're getting any deeper than that. And this has happened relatively quickly. There is part user error here, because like I said before, I didn't change the nib like anywhere near often enough, which is kind of my bad. So I do wear through them a bit faster. I normally use felt nibs, which also mean they didn't wear out as quickly. Felt nibs are generally better. I've been on like a non-felt nib trip for a while, ironically, because I get annoyed because I wear through the felt nibs really quickly and then don't like buying them all the time. But on the flip side, I use the plastic nibs, don't change them enough, and I wear holes in the tablet, which costs a lot more than the nibs. But you know, human logic doesn't always make sense. This big guy in the middle though, going back to my actual point, is my fault, really. I use a mouse sometimes as well. This computer this is attached to, I have two machines it gets attached to. One is a Mac, one is a PC. The PC has double duty as a gaming machine, right? You can see where this is going. So whenever I'm playing video games, I don't pick this up. I just put the mouse straight on top of it. And that's actually been the main culprit for causing this damage. Has actually been the underside of a mouse has been scratching this hole. So that's made it happen much quicker. It's not the sole cause of it, but don't use a mouse on the surface, I guess, is probably a good tip. I imagine some people aren't as dumb as me, but whatever. But yeah, the main point, long-term durability, comparing this to previous experiences with Wacom tablets, I would say this all notwithstanding and the things that I have specifically done to make this worse, based on vaguely how long I've had this, maybe let's say circa a year, in terms of where I'd expect wear to be on an equivalent Wacom product, I think this is possibly ahead. Almost ignore this guy, but in terms of the rest of the surface, I would say it's tracking to be probably slightly less durable a surface than I'm used to on a Wacom, a higher end Wacom product. So that's something worth considering if you don't have one of these already. In terms of long-term durability, I know a lot of people don't necessarily buy tablets as tools. If you're someone who buys them as tools and you don't really, you know they're going to wear out and you always need one 24/7. I use this thing sort of sometimes 7, 8, 9 hours a day, 5 days a week. It gets used. So yeah, for those who want more incidental use of a tablet or occasional use of a tablet, then this is probably a non-issue. But yeah, for those sort of hardcore looking to change up from like a pro level into a sort of thing, it's something worth bearing in mind. I think maybe stick with felt nibs if you like the felt nibs. Plastic nibs, again, this surface isn't super grippy compared to what Wacom are doing at the moment. It's slightly more smooth. So I think it probably doesn't wear through nibs any faster. It's not super papery on this guy, which I quite like. I think I said before, the sort of surface finish out of the box is pretty good. But yeah, in terms of actual, is this thing ruined? It's getting that way, but the thing is ruining it right now is me. So this is going to become a problem. This is just going to spread now. If you can actually chip away at the surface now with a finger nail because of the crack through the thing. So eventually this is going to spread. This is not necessarily the end of the tablet. It's just, it will still work just fine. But this surface feels significantly different to this. It's much grippier, and also it feels like writing on bare plastic instead of a specific work surface. So it'll have a drastic effect on the feel of the tablet. My instinct is going to be I will replace it. When it gets this big, I'll probably replace it. But yeah, I think for hardcore users, I'd say this probably wears out a bit faster than the Wacom. So in terms of money spend when Wacoms die, I think that's to be taken into account if you're considering one of these. I don't think necessarily it will last necessarily as long as a Wacom will. Battery life has continued to sort of slowly get worse as well. It doesn't have to be plugged in 24/7, but this right now does not last a full work day without being plugged in. I let it turn off. There's an option inside the settings where you can let it go to sleep. I set it to go to sleep up to 30 minutes, which is the like the most frequent, like the shortest option for that. Even with that on, it still might squeak through a day of use. So battery life isn't amazing, and it has probably degraded in the last 10 months or so. But overall, I still think it's great. It's a very, very good tablet. Like I said, don't be me and use a mouse on this. Just don't be lazy, put it on the side if you're going to use a mouse instead of the tablet for a bit. And yeah, just be prepared to maybe replace one of these slightly more often than your previous Wacom, I guess, is the takeaway from this. Anyway, bye.